Helen was one of those women people never forgot, not because she was wise or kind, but because her beauty came with the kind of pride that made her walk like the whole street belonged to her. She was tall, with skin smooth like new clay, and a body that made men whisper as she passed. Her Instagram was full of pictures of her in tight dresses and high heels, posing in restaurants she could barely afford. But beauty without wisdom is like a basket with a hole at the bottom it cannot hold water. Helen had beauty, but no brain to guide it. Her husband, Chike, was different. He was not rich, not flashy, not even good with big English. He was a fisherman. Every morning before dawn, while the town was still quiet, Chike would push his wooden canoe into the river, his lantern hanging at the front, and cast his nets. By the time the sun rose, he would come back smelling of fish, tired but smiling, carrying baskets full of tilapia, catfish, and banga. Chike was content with his life. He believed dignity was in labor, but Helen? She despised him for it. "Look at you," she would say, rolling her eyes as he washed his nets. "Other men are driving cars, wearing fine clothes, taking their wives to Dubai, and me? I married a man who smells of fish every day." Sometimes she mocked him in front of neighbors, her voice loud enough for the street to hear. "Na fisherman I marry, not a husband. No wonder I can't even post you on Instagram. What will people say? That I married poverty?" The neighbors shook their heads, but they were not surprised. Everyone knew Helen's mouth was sharper than a razor. At first, Chike kept quiet. He loved his wife, even though she had no respect. But each insult was a stone thrown at his heart. He worked harder, hoping money would make her happy. He sold more fish, saved a little, even bought her a smartphone. But no matter what he did, it was never enough. Helen had friends who lived for fast-life women who dated rich men, posted gifts on Snapchat, and laughed at wives who stayed with ordinary husbands. They filled Helen's head with ideas. "Babe, forget that fisherman," her friend Ada told her one day. "How long will you keep eating fish every day? Look at us, we are eating chicken at fancy restaurants, traveling, living life. You are too fine to waste on a man like that." Those words poisoned Helen's heart. Soon she stopped cooking for Chike, stopped waiting for him to return from fishing, stopped appreciating the food he brought. She started dressing up at night, claiming she was meeting friends for drinks. The truth, Helen wanted a new life, with richer men, with shiny cars and big promises. She was ashamed to be called a fisherman's wife. One Saturday, the village had a community meeting at the town hall. Everyone came: market women, taxi drivers, and even the youth leaders. Chike was there too, smelling faintly of river water but neatly dressed in a clean shirt. When it was Helen's turn to speak, she stood up in her red gown and high heels. Instead of making a normal contribution, she decided to shame her husband in front of everyone. "I don't even know why I am here," she said loudly, her voice dripping with scorn. "What can my fisherman husband contribute? Fish? He cannot even provide the life I deserve. Sometimes I ask myself if I am cursed to marry such a man." The hall went silent. People stared at her in shock. Some gasped. Even Helen's own mother covered her face in shame. But Helen smiled proudly, thinking she had proved she was better than her husband. Chike did not reply. He stood quietly, his head bowed, and walked out of the hall. That night, he did not eat. He sat by the river alone, staring at the dark water. His heart broke, but he told himself, "One day, she will understand." A few weeks later, something happened. Chike went fishing as usual, but he did not return. His canoe was later found drifting near the mangroves, his net half full of fish. The villagers searched for him for days, but Chike had vanished. Some said he drowned. Others whispered that he left the village out of shame, never to return. Helen was left alone. At first, she pretended not to care. She told her friends, "Good riddance. I can now look for a real man, not a fisherman." But soon reality came knocking. The little money Chike had saved finished. The flashy friends stopped calling. No rich man wanted to carry the burden of a proud wife with no income. Slowly, Helen's phone stopped buzzing with invitations. Hunger began to visit her house. One hot afternoon, Helen's landlord came knocking. "Madam, pay your rent or leave my house," he said. Helen begged, but the man shook his head. No rent, no house. With no one to help her, Helen carried her clothes in a Ghana must-go bag and moved to a small, leaking room near the river, the same place she once despised. There, hunger bit her harder. To survive, she went to the market, begging the fish sellers for scraps. One woman laughed bitterly. "Helen, is it not you who called your husband useless because he sold fish? Now look at you. You are begging for the same fish." The gossip spread like wildfire. Children mocked her on the street. Women shook their heads when she passed. The same beauty she once boasted about now looked pale, thin, and hungry. Finally, out of desperation, Helen began to sell fish herself. She would wake early, buy fish on credit, and sit in the market shouting, "Come and buy fish. Fresh fish for sale." The same voice that once mocked her husband was now used to beg customers. The irony was so heavy, even strangers pitied her. One evening, as Helen sat in the market with her basin of unsold fish, a familiar figure walked past. It was Chike. Her eyes widened. For a moment, she thought it was a ghost, but it was him, strong, alive, and looking different. "Chike," she whispered, her lips trembling. He looked at her but did not smile. Instead, he walked past quietly, carrying a new fishing net. His clothes were simple, but his eyes had grown colder, wiser. Later, people discovered the truth. Chike had not drowned. He had left the village, gone to work with fishermen in another town, and built a small fortune. He came back stronger, with enough money to buy new boats and employ others. Helen's shame doubled. She wanted to run to him, to apologize, to beg, but Chike kept his distance. "I gave you love, you gave me humiliation," he told her one day when she tried to speak. "Now live with the choice you made." Helen's fall. From that day, Helen's life never recovered. She sold fish in the same market where she once raised her nose. Customers often whispered, "That is the woman who mocked her fisherman husband. Now see what life has done to her." Her beauty faded faster than rain on dry sand. Poverty humbled her in ways pride never imagined. She lived in regret, knowing she had destroyed her own happiness with her own mouth. The story of Helen teaches us something deep. Pride can destroy faster than poverty. There is dignity in every honest work. A fisherman who works hard is richer than a proud woman who chases empty dreams. So, my friend watching this, never look down on anyone because of their job. Respect the hands that feed you, no matter how they smell. And if you enjoyed this story, subscribe now for more powerful African stories that carry lessons for life.